Chapter 201. Lady Richard was in utter shock. How had this happened? She could not believe that Alex actually had the power to influence the White family to break the engagement with the Richard family. She felt as though her heart was hurting as she thought about this. Lady Richard wanted to beg Hazel not to abandon the Richard family. However, the other party ignored her completely. After announcing that they would be annulling the engagement between Daniel and Olivia, Hazel turned around and left the Richard family villa with Daniel immediately. Olivia broke down entirely and could not stop crying. She had been following Daniel around for so many years, giving him everything that she had. She had even been pregnant with his child, but still, he chose to abandon her at this time. She could not help but feel hatred and resentment toward her grandmother. Harold's father was also feeling very depressed right then. He had acted and dealt with his brother's family according to the old lady's instructions, but it seemed as though he had not obtained any benefits at all. Most importantly, his son had been heavily injured and arrested by the police, and his daughter was abandoned by her fiancé and his family. Harold's father felt that he had suffered more losses than gains. He voiced his complaints to the old lady. "Mom, I have always listened to you and acted according to your instructions, but at this point, my family has already lost everything that we have." Lady Richard calmed herself down and regained her composure before she started to reassure them. "Do not panic. What is the hurry? We can spend some money to bail Harold out of the police's custody. As for Olivia's marriage, there is nothing else that we can do about the White family, but we have nothing to worry about. After all, Olivia is really beautiful, and there will be many young men from rich families who would be lining up to ask for her hand in marriage." Then, Lady Richard continued speaking, "Don't forget that we still have a contract with Diamond Group, and we can definitely rely on them at a time like this. The Richard family will definitely pull through this, and once we win this battle, the Richard family will not need to depend on anyone else in the future. Why would we need to depend on anyone else if we are extremely wealthy on our own?" Harold's father hurriedly asked, "Mom, the person in charge of the contract with the Diamond Group is that wench, Emma. Now that we have already kicked her out of the Richard Group, don't you think that we should get someone to take over this project as well as the position of the director of Richard Group?" Of course, we have to replace her with someone else," the old lady blurted out immediately. "Don't worry about it. I will let Harold take over the position of the director as soon as he comes out of police custody. As the director of the Richard Group, he will be fully responsible and in charge of the project and any future collaborations between the Richard Group and Diamond Group." Harold's father was very happy, and he finally felt a little comforted. Even though his family had suffered a great loss, the old lady was already willing to compensate them for these losses. If Lady Richard decided to hand this project over to his son, he would have a chance to turn his life around in the future. After that, Lady Richard continued, "We cannot afford to make any mistakes in our collaboration with Diamond Group. When the time comes, I want Harold to give his best so that we can secure many more projects and collaborations with Diamond Group." Harold's father replied immediately, "Mom, don't worry. I will make sure that Harold does his best." As soon as they were done talking, the doorbell rang. Not long after, a man dressed in a suit walked into the courtyard. "Excuse me, is Lady Richard at home?" Lady Richard quickly greeted the man before she asked, "I am Lady Richard. May I know who you are?" The other party replied, "Hello, I am the lawyer representing Diamond Group." As soon as Lady Richard heard that the other party was from Diamond Group, she replied enthusiastically, Oh, so, you are a lawyer from Diamond Group? Please come in." "No, thank you," the man replied coldly. "I am just here to give you a letter in person." "A lawyer's letter?" Lady Richard asked in surprise. "Why are you giving me a lawyer's letter?" The other party replied immediately, "This letter is a letter for the termination of the contract and all the collaborations between Diamond Group and Richard Group." After some discussion, Diamond Group has decided to terminate all projects and collaborations with the Richard Group. Moreover, Diamond Group will never work with the Richard Group again. Please make a trip to Diamond Group within the next 2 days to complete the termination agreement. What?